Networking is the stupidest thing ever. No amount of networking has ever made anyone's career, and no amount of lack of networking has ever destroyed anyone's career. You do good work, you will shine. You don't do good work, you eventually won't shine. At one point, I was like, why am I unnecessarily forcing myself to do things that I feel so uncomfortable doing? That has always been the case, that my guards will immediately go up when I see that someone is trying to put two women in a competitive space. I've always been a big girl's girl. I have always, right since I was a kid till now, and will forever be lifelong, I'll always look out for. I'm also a big believer, and I never say things behind people's backs that I wouldn't say to their faces. Pit women against each other, where they come and they compliment you while putting another woman down, saying,
"You look so much better than her."
"Oh yeah, you were looking so nice. She was not looking nice." And I'm like, why? You couldn't just come and tell me that I was looking nice. What was the need? Did you think I was gonna feel even better because you were like, oh, she was not looking good and I was? I don't need someone to be put down for me to feel high up.
Yeah.
A big Bollywood fan, the way people are, growing up like crazy. But then I saw Krish. And I think that was like a childhood defining moment for me because it established two of my most favorite actors for me. I remember after that I was obsessed with Priyanka Chopra and Hrithik Roshan. These were like my two. I feel like that was when I really started enjoying the industry. The industry was not really a part of conversations when I was growing up at all. My mother had stopped being an actor by the time I was born. Like, my mother is the least filmy person you'll ever meet. Like, she has no clue what goes on in the industry, what's happening. Most of the time I'm explaining things to her and I'm like, Mama, you need to know this. I've always been someone that's made my own choices. Because for me, I need to know that my failures were my own fault and my successes were my own doing. I want to take full credit for my successes, and I want to take full credit for any failures.
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Spotlight Sessions podcast. Today, my guest is so special, so talented and so much fun. Of course, she has her family in the industry, but she has always been so focused on creating her own path and her own identity. Like I said, so much fun, so full of life. The beautiful Alaya. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for such a sweet introduction, Rudrani. I love it.
Every word is true.
Thank you.
Sitting in Alaya's beautiful house, we're doing this podcast. Thank you for welcoming us to your house so warmly.
Thank you. And she means warmly with a pun because it's extremely hot. The ACs are not cooling properly today.
In this industry, when you come in, especially from a film family, there are so many judgments, there are so many viewpoints about who you are, how you got it. But I think from the day one of you doing promotions, I think people have seen that you genuinely are not just self-aware, not just about your privilege, I feel like, but you're also very determined that, sure, this is a part of who I am, but I'm so much more. And I think you've seen that support grow for you very steadily throughout. Alaya, today, with so many years now since your debut, how do you feel about navigating through all of that and reaching where you have today?
Honestly, I don't think anyone can really prepare you for what the journey is like in this industry because it's constantly changing. And I feel like you have to just be on the ball constantly. You have to be ready to learn, ready to change, ready to adjust, ready to, question beliefs that you had maybe even just last month. I feel like I've learned and grown so much, not just as an actor, but as a human being, as a person, as someone to work with, I feel like when I look back at my journey in this industry, I feel like I'm just beginning because I feel like I'm constantly having new realizations and new moments. And so last year, I sort of had this moment where I was like, I just felt like I wasn't doing things that truly made me happy. And I think I decided that I wanted to just change course. And so since last year and all through this year, I've been shooting projects that are actually very different than the choices I've made earlier, which is exciting because it helps me grow as an actor and as a performer. And it's also really exciting because it's, I feel like a newbie all over again. And I'm excited for it. And when I look back at the fact that I realized that I debuted in 2020, which is crazy. It blows my mind because I also lost 3 of those years in the pandemic. There was a 3-year gap between Jawani Janeman, my first film, and Freddie, which was my second film. And so, I'm excited for what's to come. I feel like I'm just getting started, honestly. I feel like I've got like this big second wind now, and I'm ready to attack.
Ella, it's very interesting you said that. I think I have taken a course a little different now because I'm trying to make things different. I feel like you also come from a family where, you have had, of course, different people. You've had art and culture so seeped into your growing up days, with, of course, Pratima ma'am and Kabir sir. But you also have seen that the celebration of commercial films through your mother's work and all of that.
Actually, if I'm being really honest, growing up, we didn't really talk about films. The industry was not really a part of conversations when I was growing up at all. My mother had stopped being an actor by the time I was born. And like, my mother is the least filmy person you'll ever meet. Like, she has no clue what goes on in the industry, what's happening. Most of the time I'm explaining things to her. I'm like, Mama, you need to know this. So my Nana, of course, since I've become an actor, me and my Nana have had lots of conversations about films and the industry and stuff like that. But prior to me joining the industry, I don't think my Nana ever, we never really spoke about films before that. So honestly, I figured out this industry once I joined the industry. I didn't really come in prepared. I came in prepared as an actor, but I didn't come in. So I had done all my diction training, my dance training, my acting training. I had done all those other things. I had come prepared as an actor, but I had come very unprepared as a part of the industry. So if you see my earlier interviews, like, you'll see I'm not, like, I look like a baby. My grooming is little off. I have like baby hair sticking out from here. I'm wearing clothes sometimes that don't necessarily work on my body type. I'm, there are all these random little things that I'm so naively and sweetly clueless about.
Correct.
And through the course of me being a part of this industry, I've learned a lot. And then, of course, there was the pandemic that happened, which changed the industry for everyone. Like, so by the time I got a hang of the industry and I understood it a little bit, the whole format of the industry changed, because post-pandemic and pre-pandemic, I think everyone knows that the way films are made and the types of films that are made have been entirely different. So then it was like a second education to someone that was, so imagine you've just entered school, you've just gone from primary school to middle school, and the entire curriculum has changed. And everyone that's in high school and has graduated, they're figuring it out, and you who's barely graduated from primary school is now having to figure out the whole system all over again, So it was a little confusing and daunting, but luckily I've always had a really wonderful group of people to sort of guide me through this, whether it's my agency or just the general people I've worked with. I've been very fortunate that I've been surrounded by really truly good people, and people that have always empowered me to make my own decisions. No one's ever told me this is what we're going to do and this is how it is. No one ever took advantage of the fact that I didn't know too much. Everyone always made it a point to teach me and then help me make my own informed decision, which I love. Which is why I'm really loyal to the people I've worked with and that have seen me through the years, and I don't forget that, because I think it's really important. Everything was well and good, and I have always been someone that's made my own choices. Because for me, I need to know that my failures were my own fault and my successes were my own doing. I want to take full credit for my successes, and I want to take full credit for any failures. I don't want to have to ever point fingers or give anyone credit that is mine. So for me, that's always been important. And so I've made some great choices over the years, and I made some not so great choices over the years. And I've learned equally from both. And it's taking those learnings now. Actually, 2024 was a year where I really reflected on all of that a lot. I sat and I remember it was actually exactly in October of 2024 that I made, so exactly 1 year ago, where I made a humongous decision. And post that, I have I don't know, I've just like changed course. And right now it's not, right now I can just say it in theory, because next year is, I guess, when you'll see the sort of
effort.
course switch. There's a lot of foundation that has been laid this year, which is why I was pretty actually low key this year compared to most years. I've actually been pretty low key. I've done, my own thing. I've barely done any interviews. I've barely done any appearances also this year. I've had no films out this year. So I've had a very low key year. But this year has been actually one of the most transformative years of my life, because I've laid the foundation for the next decade of my life.
But I think the foundation has already started, no? I mean, the world, I think, can see a foundation already with one of the announcement being Storm, with HRX Films and Hrithik and producing it, and with Parvati and you.
Yes, of course.
That's a powerhouse of talent that I saw. The picture was just released. You all posted on.
Yeah, we had a cast and crew.
Some of my favorite women in that screen, all fantastic actors. Tell me, so I'm assuming that is a part of the foundation that you talk about.
Storm is definitely a big part of the sort of pivot I've made in a certain way, because I feel like for me, what is of utmost priority now is choosing scripts that I truly believe in and working with people that I truly like. I think that's so important, because I feel like if you work on scripts that you genuinely really enjoy and you work with people that make working feel like a pleasure, and like a collaborative, creative, wonderful process, which is what it's supposed to be. It's as actors, you're so vulnerable in so many moments. We're basically giving yourself to a set and to then later the audience. And I mean, to do it effectively, you need to let go of all your guards. You need to be able to let go, and to be able to let go in a situation that you don't feel comfortable or safe in, or protected in, or, nurtured in, is much harder. So I think working with good people helps you as an actor also, because you just have an environment that's so much more conducive to good work.
100%. So let's talk about the names you're associating with. Parvati, Hrithik. It must be a joy.
Sabha, Shrishti, Rama.
Sabha, Shrishti.
Yeah, all of them just
Tell
incredible
me
actors.
how it kind of made your experience so much more fun.
I mean, so we haven't started shooting yet. We've just done
Okay.
yeah, we haven't started shooting yet. But everyone's really lovely. Everyone has really great energy. Everyone is they're all people that I'm extremely excited to be collaborating with and working with. And I'm really looking forward to the whole process. I think it's going to be great fun.
I remember you always said you've been a Hrithik fan.
Yes. Who hasn't?
And this, I think, kind of also a very inspirational journey that he's had as well, right, in the industry.
Incredibly. Even before I was a Bollywood person, like I was never really a big Bollywood fan the way people are, growing up like crazy. But then I saw Krish. And I think that was like a childhood defining moment for me, because it established two of my most favorite actors for me. I remember after that, I was obsessed with Priyanka Chopra and Hrithik Roshan. These were like my two, I don't know, they were like, so I feel like that was when I really started enjoying the industry. I know most people have their entry into, being Bollywood buffs much earlier. Mine, honestly, if I'm being very honest, it started there. That's when I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And these people are... So Krish was my initiation into Bollywood in a big way. And yeah, I remember just being completely in awe of him. And then I remember my Nana was shooting kites with him. I was never, again, my Nana was not used to me being very enthusiastic about any industry related things at all. But I was like, oh my God, I need to meet him. I want to meet him. I want to meet him. So my Nana was like, okay, sure. So he took me onto the sets one day, and he introduces me to Hrithik sir. And he's like, oh, this is my granddaughter, Alia. That time my name was Alia. Screen name Alaya now. But he was like, it's my granddaughter, Alia. And I went mute. I did not say a word. And I was like yapping before that. And I suddenly went mute. And my Nana was like, say something. And I did not say a word. All right, that was my first interaction. And then later on, now many years later, when I met Hrithik sir, I spoke a lot.
Did you tell him? Does he know about this story?
I did.
Must have laughed, and must have actually, he's also very appreciative of the love that he gets.
Of course.
But so interesting. We've already spoken numerous times about how much Priyanka Chopra cheers and roots for Alaya. And now Ritik collaborating with Alaya. Listen, what is this manifestation game that's going on? Do some for me as well, please.
How sweet. I know, I just feel like I'm, honestly, I feel extremely grateful to have people that I have admired and looked up to for so long believe in me.
Yeah.
There is nothing more. I don't even know the word for it is. There's not. I don't know. It's this incredible feeling of extreme excitement and extreme fear that comes with it.
Yeah.
So I think my main focus now is that I just want to work extremely hard to be worthy of the belief that all these incredible people have put in me. And now I feel like I have this extreme sense of clarity on what it is I want to do. And I feel like when you have that clarity, it's very easy to then, because see, if I'm being very honest, I have no lack of hard work. I'm a very hardworking person. I'll happily work hard.
Of course.
But if you're hardworking and you're all over the place, it doesn't really do anything. However, if you are clear and working hard, I believe that is the correct way. So let's see. Now I feel like I'm clear and I'm just going to work really hard and hopefully I can be worthy of the belief that all these incredible people have put in me. And I'm just excited to do my best.
Some time back you just said that when you were launched and you were giving promotional interviews, you were like this baby who didn't have grooming. I just want to say, first of all, you looked fantastic. One of your first few interviews were with me.
Yes.
And that's how I have been friends, because it was the time where she was, I thought, the most honest person that I was speaking to. And definitely someone who hasn't been PR trained.
Yeah.
You were okay to be yourself. Not really getting PR trained in every question. And I also feel that even then you didn't have FOMO. And you're still the same person. You spoke about how it's been a year of you not attending events, not going to every award show. You're actually pushed to do that. You're told that if you want to be seen and if you want to get more work, all of this parting is only going to help you.
Yeah.
But I think things haven't changed, isn't it? I remember asking you some of these questions even then, and you're like, I don't know, I'll see. But pretty much you've kind of retained that, in your words, that baby, and it's a good thing, isn't it?
You know what I've realized? Networking is the stupidest thing ever. No amount of networking has ever made anyone's career, and no amount of lack of networking has ever destroyed anyone's career. You do good work, you will shine. You don't do good work, you eventually won't shine. I used to feel so... See, I'm a fake extrovert. I seem like a big extrovert, but actually internally I'm always like, I'm just a vibrating ball of stress, okay? And so I feel very awkward a lot of the time at gatherings or screenings and stuff like that. And if I have company to go with, or if there's a reason that I really should go, then I'll make an effort. But at one point I realized I was like, I'm a mess before it because I'm so stressed out. So whatever, I go there, I'm probably a little stressy there. I don't go in with, the most, I'm here magnetic energy. And at one point I was like, why am I unnecessarily forcing myself to do things that I feel so uncomfortable doing? And I don't mean that in the sense that, see, we all must push past our fears and our limitations. But when it's necessary, not every time is so necessary. Sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And that being okay. And I realized a crazy thing that's actually so straightforward. But just realizing the power of it was extremely big for me. And it sounds so straightforward and so simple. But I realized that I have free will. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And I can do anything I want to do. And it changed my life. So now I'm just so secure in that, where if someone makes me feel like I need to do something, I'm like, I don't. And that's that. Or if someone makes me feel like I can't do something, and I'm like, I can. And I will.
But the sense of security is what also adds to your longevity in the industry,
Yeah.
because there are too many people, like you rightly said, telling you what you can't do,
Yeah.
which film you are not going to suit, and also constantly making you compete with other actors, right? Now I know you'll agree with me.
No, definitely.
Like, usse better karna hai, instead of looking at your own career graph.
I feel like more than that, see, I think templates get set. Anytime someone comes in and something works, people are like, this is the correct formula. But they don't realize that that has already happened. That cannot happen again.
Yeah.
It's like literally lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. So trying to actively chase exactly that is the most short way to not get exactly there. You know, everyone, see anyone that is, everyone's journey has been so truly unique. Look at any actors out there. Each of their journeys has been so individualistic to exactly who they are.
Yeah.
None of them have had the same template journey. So if no two actors have anyways had the same template journey, then why are we trying to follow some template? It doesn't make sense to me. And I think I've just had that clarity very profoundly.
Were you constantly also told by people around?
By told, yes. Do I listen? Probably not. But now I've reached a point where I don't even listen to other people's opinions now. I'm like, it's very bad actually, but I've started like actually stopping people where I'm like, thank you. I actually don't want to get into this right now. I'll be like, thank you, but I'm not really looking for an opinion right now. And I've done this multiple times through this year because I feel like people's opinions otherwise, even if you don't intend to take them, they sit in your head somewhere.
Yeah.
They sit in your head somewhere and they put in just maybe slight seeds.
And doubts.
And see, everyone intends well. I don't think people intend badly.
Sure.
I don't think anyone around me especially. I think I've been really fortunate to surround myself with people that I truly love. And I know that none of them intend badly and they only want the best. But sometimes you have to realize that the person that truly knows best for you is you.
Yeah.
And you have to just... It's not that you have to discard what other people say, but you just have to believe twice as hard in what you feel. And I think that's what I've learned really profoundly. And if I need an opinion, I still take opinions all the time. I will ask. But don't give me unsolicited advice.
But I also think you're a girl's girl. And
Totally.
In this industry, it is so difficult because they'll constantly try to pit female actors against
This is
each
true.
other.
Very true.
It won't happen too much with the men because they think they're men, they already think are in a league apart.
Yeah.
For women, they'll only tell you there are 5 spaces and you'll have to be there.
Yeah.
Tell me, how have you navigated through that?
That has always been the case, that my guards will immediately go up when I see that someone is trying to put 2 women in a competitive space. I've always been a big girl's girl. I have always, right since I was a kid till now, and will forever be lifelong, I'll always look out for, I'm also a big believer and I never say things behind people's backs that I wouldn't say to their faces. If I really had to.
Yeah.
You know, so I like to be accountable for what I say, what I do. And I also don't like to engage in conversations where other people are trying to put someone else down. I feel like usually, I'll tell you another very funny way that people try to pit women against each other. Where they come and they compliment you while putting another woman down, saying,
You look so much better than her.
oh yeah, you were looking so nice. She was not looking nice. And I'm like, why? You couldn't just come and tell me that I was looking nice. What was the need? Did you think I was going to feel even better because you were like, oh, she was not looking good and I don't need someone to be put down for me to feel high up.
Yeah.
I think that is my biggest irritation with it. People trying to pit you, now that is going to happen only.
Yeah.
My biggest irritation is when someone thinks that a compliment means more because they've put someone else down in the process. Whereas that is the easiest way to make me disconnect from the conversation. Like, I will be out.
Which is 100% true.
And you'd be surprised. I mean, people don't do it maliciously also. Like, there are people that I'm very close to that have done this. And I've called them out on it, you know. I think it's just subconsciously the way we're wired. Because I've seen so many people do this compliment by putting someone else down. I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
And it's so well put the way you described, because it does impact people who truly believe in, like you would say, the sisterhood. You know, you'd be like, we're here to do our own job, You know, let us do that.
There's more than enough opportunity for everyone. And
Everybody.
everyone, like I said, everyone's space is so unique.
Yeah.
So unique. You see, everyone is doing their own thing. Everyone's journey has been just theirs.
Alaya, has it been difficult to watch some of your contemporaries go through the extreme trolling that you obviously didn't go through? But you will have empathy. You will have
Of course.
understanding for that, right? You
Of
saw what
course.
happened to, you know, from Ibrahim to Khushi to Suhana to all of them. Because like I said, there was this joyous celebration in the fact that we have someone who's so self-assured and is really good. You really didn't go through that kind of trolling.
That's right.
And there was genuine support for you. But I know that, you know, you're friends with them.
It's a hard industry. You know, and anytime anyone even tries to, and this is another big reason why when people have their opinions that are not positive, I don't engage with it. I just feel like, at least with me, is where the fuel will end.
Yeah.
Like, there will be no fuel put onto any fire when it's in a conversation with me. I don't. It's a difficult industry. Everyone is trying to navigate it. It's not easy for anyone. No matter how privileged someone might seem, or how much of an outsider someone must seem like, everyone, like I said, everyone's journey is just so individual and unique, and none of it is devoid of their own fair share of struggle, whatever that may be. I'm not saying the struggle is the same, because the struggles are poles apart, but that doesn't mean that there isn't. See, I'm not here to undermine anyone's struggle or overestimate anyone else's struggle. I'm just saying that it's a difficult industry, and opinions are constantly thrown at you. It's also very, very personal, in the sense that, now, if you're selling candles and I don't like your candles, I don't like your candles.
That's it.
But as an actor, if you don't like my product, you don't like me. You specifically don't like me. You don't like who I am, what I stand for, what I have to offer. You know, and that's hard. It's hard to not take it personally, because it is personal.
Yeah,
you know,
very well put.
So it is difficult, and you have to also remember that at the end of the day, everyone's a young person, you know, navigating their way in the world. So either the viewer here is someone that's a young person navigating themselves in the world, or there's someone that has been through that phase of navigating them.
Yeah.
Like, think of yourself in your early 20s, you know, it's a difficult time.
It's very difficult.
And of course, it is what we sign up for. See, I'm not making two-way, it's not a sob story here either, because this is what we sign up for. We know that this industry does come with its opinions, and you have to have thick skin. And I think that's what all of them are doing beautifully. You know, I think all of them have extremely special qualities, which is why they are people that people are engaging with, and,
Have
you know,
followers and
they have followers, they have people that are tuning in and viewing, they have all of that. So there obviously is something about them that is special also. And so I think I wish everyone the best.
Absolutely. Can I also just say, talking about life being hard, right now she's taking the 75-day hard challenge. I just want to say that. And looking at her sparkling and being absolutely okay, I'm like, how? I mean, every year I see you kind of put the bar higher for yourself. Now, going against gravity is a very natural thing for you, Alaya. I remember the last time we spoke, you were like, no, Ryan, don't say all this now. I don't know. Let me first master it. We're at a stage where you've not just mastered it with no hands, headstand and all of that. You are taking challenges like this. So how do you look at your entire evolution in fitness journey and health?
So, you know, my fitness journey actually is quite funny, because it happened thoda in reverse, okay? I started posting these videos, and people started really thinking I was very fit. And I started feeling like a con artist, because I was like, jitna logo ko lag raha hai, utna to main hu nahi. And I was like, people think I am this fit and this disciplined, whereas I'm probably this fit and this disciplined. And suddenly I felt a big gap in the way people were perceiving me versus who I actually was. And I started feeling like a big imposter. And so I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I like the way people are perceiving me? Yeah, I do. I was like, do I want to feel like a con artist? No, I don't. So what's a great solution that helps everyone? Let me actually become her. And so it was actually people believing that I was this that made me say, chal, theek hai, let me go the extra mile and actually go and do it. So now I'm happy to say that I am as fit and as disciplined as people think I am.
And as flexible.
And as flexible.
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like honestly, you know, just I've realized the power of consistency. Consistency is just the most incredible thing. Sometimes I just see videos of myself. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, fine, let me try this. And I attempt it. And something that seemed so impossible just a few months ago is suddenly happening with ease.
Are you talking about the headstands and
Whatever it is, like, you know, whether it's anything flexibility related, anything balance related, anything fitness related, you know, something that seemed impossible just a few months ago is suddenly happening with such ease. How? Because it was just consistency. And now that I've learned the power of consistency, because consistency compounds, I was listening to this podcast. I think it was Sadhguru, who said writing one page a day won't make you an author, but writing one page a day for a whole year will give you a novel. Doing one great workout won't do anything to your body, but doing one great workout every day for 100 days will transform your body. And that's literally what it is. It's just about making a choice and making that choice consistently and constantly. And it's like before you know it, results are in front of your face. Things that seem so small and inconsequential, they just add up.
And adding to your list of a
Yeah.
lot of things that she can do is because you wanted to make sure you still eat
My
interesting
God.
things. You have now officially been a baker and also cooking very interesting snacks. I was going to talk about your idea of nutrition doesn't just come from a place of just, in the air. You've tried to study, research, and, understood, make interesting snacks. And often when you try to put it out for people, like people like me or anybody else who come and ask you, right? Tell us what you Alaya eating for the skin or eating on your snacks. You give answers when there are debates happening, people agreeing and not agreeing, and you also engage with them. So
Yeah.
I feel like you're invested
Yeah.
a lot. Because
Very much.
I see that they ask you, नहीं मुझे लगता है आपका ये snack healthy है ही नहीं, and you actually respond to them saying, this is why I think it's anti-inflammatory, this is why I think it's so and so. So tell me your understanding of that and why it is necessary for you to also engage with the audience and make them understand that I don't come from a place of just looking cool.
So, I'm a big believer in actually genuinely giving people value. I feel like if you want respect, you have to give respect. And if you want love, you have to give love. And I think that's what I've tried to embody a lot. Especially, I think my social media is very representative of that. I try to make sure that whatever I'm putting out there truly can add value to someone's life. I would hate for someone to go out there and gather the ingredients and put something together that they've seen on my page and for them to not have liked it. I would hate for someone's effort and time and money and energy to have ever gone wasted because of me.
Sure.
And so I take that responsibility very seriously, and I truly do. So if I'm putting out a recipe, I'll make sure that I've tried and tested that recipe multiple times to know that it works every single time properly. I've made other people try it. I've researched all the benefits of it and all the downsides of it, everything thoroughly. Because I want everyone to be informed and to make the most of it. Like, it sounds very funny to say, but I genuinely, truly want, it sounds very funny to say that I'm saying this, but I genuinely do want the best for people. Like, I really
course.
want someone to try something and for that to really be something that helped them, because I feel like everything I put out is something I hope that I would have seen somewhere, and yeah, so because I take that responsibility seriously, I like to make sure that I'm very clear on whatever it is that I'm putting out. And yeah, I enjoy it. And baking is my new thing. I'm really enjoying it. And I now, see, I'll tell you honestly, I want to be one of those people that people are like, ye bhi kar leti hai. So I want to be one of those people that's like, acha, you do this also, and this also, and this also. Yeah, I want to be that.
What is Sharma ji ki beti syndrome basically?
हाँ.
As you are, it's like Alaya, क्या हमारी बेटी कैसे हो? Alaya F जैसी हो is where you're heading
I'm
for.
telling you, I've
Alaya.
become obsessed with progress. Like, it's become like a weird thing. Like, I've become like, I've like gotten hooked on growth and progress. Like, because it's insane when you start something and you see yourself grow, and you're like, wow, I've managed to do this. I'm like, what else could I do? And that what else could I do has just started fueling my life.
I feel like your understanding of relationships and family, it comes from a place of not just wisdom, I feel like deep empathy. The last time Omar and you spoke about how you've navigated your relationships and family, your understanding, with your father's side, with your stepmom there, with your stepdad here, through navigating through divorce, I feel makes you a wiser person. So because of that, you will always prioritize yourself, also in a relationship, which women are never told to do. I want to talk about that because I think it's important for the audience also to know where it comes, this understanding, you living your life the way you are, respect for yourself in any kind of relationship.
I think, the heart of everything, and I think I say this in literally every interview I do, and I'm happy to say it in every interview I do, because even if it reaches 5 new people each time, I think it's so important.
Yeah.
The biggest hack to life is being your own best friend. If you can build a fantastic relationship with yourself, nothing can phase you. And even when things phase you, you'll be okay, and you'll always be okay, and you'll always bounce back, and you'll bounce back even stronger. And it's very easy to do. It's not that hard. We all have an internal monologue that's constantly going on. If we just are more mindful about that internal monologue. See, everything is a muscle that can be trained. So your thoughts similarly can also be trained. If you feel yourself constantly thinking negatively, all you have to do is, every time you realize a negative thought is being thought, course correct and frame it positively. The first 15 times, it might not be effective. But maybe the 16th time, you might notice it and change it. Another 15 times, you still might not do it. But then maybe the 32nd and 33rd time, you think 2 more positive thoughts. And slowly, you reframe the way your mind works and the way your thoughts flow. And while using those, and you can use this trick for literally your thought processes about anything. But the first place you should use it is in your relationship with yourself. So if you're looking in the mirror and you're not liking the way you're looking, I'm saying this because it's the most basic example.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think I know a single person that doesn't look in the mirror and have thoughts, whatever those
100%.
thoughts are. It's to look in the mirror and say, for example, I feel like my legs are looking fat that day. It's not about being like, he's fat, so ugly, it's looking horrible.
Like, don't be horrid to yourself.
Don't be horrid to yourself. Be like, oh, okay. So not looking its best right now, but that's okay. Because we're going to do something about it. Either we're going to do something about it or we're going to love it.
Yeah.
If you want to do something about it, do something. If you don't want to, that's also totally fine.
Yeah.
Then it's like, but we're going to love it. I love my legs. My legs walk me through the day. My legs support me through whatever. And you make it a point to say 7 things you love about that part of your body or that part of, so I'm just giving this in a sense of an example.
Yeah.
There are multiple other parts of your life that you can apply this to, but it's just about correcting that thought or rerouting that thought.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. And the more second nature it becomes, the more it changes the complete foundation of who you are and how you move through life.
Yeah.
Focusing on the relationship you have with yourself is the biggest hack anyone can ever get and apply, because you do that and it positively impacts every single aspect of your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your family relationships, whether it's your romantic relationships, whether it's you in a workplace, whether it's you and your worldview, whether it's you and your mental health. It helps everything. So if there's one main hack, it's learn how to be your own best friend. And it just starts with being more mindful of your internal monologue. Just being mindful of your internal monologue.
Will it be okay for me to say that this philosophy also helped you, like I was mentioning, navigating through when we can call them hard times, like I was mentioning.
100%.
Whether it's your parents going through something and all of that. Did you think that this helped you then? Because I think both Omar and you were very, very bespoke.
Honestly, when my parents were getting a divorce, we were so young.
Yeah.
I have no memory actually of my parents being a married couple.
Yeah.
I was, for whatever I can remember, since I can remember, they've been divorced.
Yeah.
And they've been fantastic co-parents. And they're still great friends, If my dad is having a birthday celebration, my mom's there. If my mom's having a birthday celebration, my dad's there. It's actually more frequent than you'd expect, that it's me, my mom, my dad, my stepmom, my mom's fiance, my brother, my half-brother. I hate saying half-brother, but just to explain.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's so often that. And not only that, my nana will also be there and we'll all be having brunch at my dad's home.
Yeah.
So like it's actually, that's the life I've known. I don't actually remember my parents being married, but I remember my parents being fantastic divorced co-parents.
Yeah.
And honestly, complete credit to them, because the way they handled the entire thing, I don't think I have ever felt negatively. Like, I wouldn't even count that a hardship or a hard time in my life, because they didn't make it feel hard at all. Like, I didn't even know when it was hard. It was smooth for as long as I can remember.
But I think that understanding also kind of gives you this confidence, no, Alaya? That you will be able to navigate through anything in a relationship.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like you can navigate through anything in life. You just have to be your own best friend because you feel like you have this one. Imagine you have one person by your side.
Yeah.
Think of it as a physical person. If you had someone that was by your side 24/7, hyping you up, your confidence would be damn good.
Yeah, I love that.
Someone is there, someone is saying, oh, I think you did that wrong. This person next to you is like, kuch nahi pata hai usko, you've done everything right, you're killing it in life, you keep going. If for every negative thought that came your way, if you had someone by your side saying, doesn't
Yeah,
make sense,
yeah.
you know who you are, na? Keep quiet. And if you had someone like that by your side constantly, your confidence would be up here,
Yeah.
right? So you need to be that person, that real big hype friend for yourself. And not only a hype friend, needs to be that person that's there for you when you're down. That person that's able to comfort you in a much deeper way than anyone ever could. I feel like that relationship with yourself is the be all and end all of everything.
But I'm very, very happy for you. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
this is a storm that doesn't seem to stop. And I'm very, very happy for you. Would you like to end it by telling the audience? It's been a wonderful session because, like I said, you're one of the most positive people that I also know. People who want to come in the industry and become actors. Of course, like you said, it's extremely difficult world to do. But from your journey, what are the few things that you'd like to tell them?
Honestly, I don't think I'm at a place where I should be giving anyone advice because, again, like I said, everyone's journey is just so individualistic.
Yeah.
And everyone's circumstances and everyone,
Sure.
there's no blanket rule. But if I have to just give one overall piece of
Observation.
not even observation, it's just it's be prepared. Yeah, be prepared. So be prepared as in your craft and in who you are. And in who you are, because people will try and tell you who you are, and if you don't know who you are, you'll believe them.
Yeah.
And so you need to be really sure of who you are and what it is you are here to do. I think that's good advice for anyone through life, no matter what industry you're going through.
Yeah.
I feel like know who you are, know what you bring to the table, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Wonderful. On that note, thank you so much, Alaya.
Thank you.
You are killing it, and we are always going to be cheering for you.
Thank you, Ridani.
Thank you.